Hey guys, I'm going to be doing a pod test today. Today I have got the Urfa Biber, also known as the Isot chili. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that perfectly because this is a Turkish chili. This was sent to me by my friend Phil, so thanks a lot Phil for sending me some pods to try. So this is going to be my first pod test of 2015. These are often used as dried in food. It's not really a chili that's meant to be used for fresh. When they dry them, there's a few different methods that they use which dries them with different colours. Some of them can come out, some of the powders and flakes look black. They're quite often sun-dried and then wrapped up at night time to help cure them. The heat rating on them is meant to be between 30 and 50,000 Scovilles. I'm not entirely sure how true that is. I don't know if there's been a huge amount of research done on them because this chili has until recently been actually quite rare to find seeds for, and one of those things that very much stays in its own backyard. So it got the Urfa name because it's from the Urfa region in Turkey, and biber means pepper in Turkish, so I've read. So anyway, we can have a look at the inside. This is going to be so yeah, thanks Phil for sending me these, but I'm going to have to cut some parts of this out. We've had a lot of rain in Japan recently, a lot of rain, a lot of hot days, and yeah, being a grower myself, I understand why this sort of thing happens. Sadly, the bottom part of this chili is susceptible to some rot, so I'm just gonna have to make a cut the bottom part of this chili off. The part with all the heat in it is pretty clean though, so I think I'm going to get a good representation of what this chili is like. And to be honest, this thing is too damn big to eat in one go anyway, so it might be a blessing in disguise. So I mean, this looks very much like a normal bell pepper to me. The green and red peppers that we get in Japan are known as piman, and they look very similar in build to this. Kind of elongated looking chili. And it smells like it, to be honest. I'm not picking up on much different that I would get in a normal bell pepper. There's perhaps a little bit of smokiness in there, but not a huge amount. And again, these chilies are famous for being dried and cured, and apparently they can get quite a raisiny flavour when they are cured, which I don't think I'm going to pick up on in a fresh one of these. But anyway, I'm going to have to cut the end of it off there because I don't particularly fancy eating the mould. Yeah, and this is what we're left with, a nice clean inside there. Quite a lot of placenta. Doesn't necessarily mean it's particularly hot. Like I say, they're reckoned to be between 30 and 50,000 Scovilles. Yeah, so let's pull off the seed cap, and then it's not wanting to come off very easily. I have to cut it off. Yeah, they've got a big old seed cap on them. It's not really wanting to come off without a fight. Yeah. Anyway, thanks Phil. Let's see what this tastes like. Cheers. Sweet, very sweet. A lot of chili to eat, bro. Very sweet. Oh, it's a lot of seeds there. So, the initial flavour is, yeah, it's like a bell pepper. Very thick skin, which made it even harder to chew. And generally, these thick skin chilies are best used for when they're dried, and I mean, this is going to be no exception. It's got quite a decent whack of heat on it, actually, for such a sweet chili. And it's building like I would expect from any capsicum anum variety. It's really just scalding the top of my tongue and the front of my tongue and my lips. Still so many seeds in my mouth. Yeah, it was very sweet, kind of like apple-like aroma, which reminded me a lot of the Korean gochujang chilies that I ate. That sweet, appley, bell pepper kind of flavour. There is a lick of smokiness in the finish, kind of savoury, smoky, ever so slightly dusky. There's a surprising amount of heat on it. I wouldn't say it's a hot chili. Well, it is a hot chili, but it's not causing me too much discomfort. But the way that it tastes and the way that it feels are so different that it starts to mislead your mind a bit. To me, that looks like the Japanese piman, the bell peppers that I buy for cooking with. Biting into it, it tasted a little bit similar. And then there's quite a lot of heat. Now, it's quite aggressive on the top of your tongue. The flavour is... It's quite... There's not a huge amount of acidity in it, which I was expecting it to be quite a sharp chili, just from looking at it and just from smelling it. There's a lot of sweetness, not too much acidity. Gets that kind of apple-like aroma, followed by a little bit of smoke and savoury kick to it at the end. So I can totally see why these are used as a dried chili. If you were using them neat in food, you'd be biting through the skins all the way through the food. You know, it's they're really tough outer skin on them. And I imagine that sweetness and that smokiness is just gonna get exaggerated the more and more that they're dried. And like I say, the way they're cured, I looked it up how they're prepared and how they're used in Turkey, and the range in different colours just from one chili was from the way that they're cured. The ones that are bright red are very fresh, and they can go almost purple and black. I'd really love to visit a Turkish market and buy a bunch of powder of this, actually. It must be a really good experience to witness the flavours and smells. Okay, so the heat on it is dying off a little bit more now. It never got to a point where it was uncomfortable, but it did have a lot more heat than I expected it to. It's still very much focused on the same place it was where it started. The heat's not migrating anywhere, like you get with some different chilies. The flavour is very long lasting. It's got quite a lot of depth to it. I wouldn't say the flavour's evolving. but it's still very much there, very kind of savoury, pepper-like flavour. I really want to try these dried because they're meant to be very good at adding a lot of depth to food, and especially dishes with meat and kebabs. Yeah, the heat is almost gone now. But yeah, great tasting chili. They must be. I mean, I've got a dehydrator myself now. They'd be great fun to grow and dry a bunch of them and play around with curing them yourself. They're meant to be pretty similar chili to the Aleppo in their kind of culinary use. I'm going to be doing a Aleppo review later on in the year. I've got a plant outside growing, so I'm looking forward to that as well. So yeah, that was the Urfa Biber. So thanks a lot, Phil, for sending that. Cheers.